Hey everyone, we are checking back in here from the road. We are going to be sharing a lot of our journey here recently. I have so much footage of all the crazy things that have happened on the road. Because let me tell you, living in an RV, it is not boring. And it is not for the faint of heart, should I include that as well. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I'm going to share some of our struggles. I'm going to share some of the highlights. There's been so much good that has come from this. You're also wondering, hey, where can I get a hat like this? If you guys want to represent the Wildrip Somatic method worldwide, there's a link below. We have hats, we have t-shirts, we have hoodies, all sorts of things. And if there's something you also want to see us create, comment below. We would love to hear from you guys. But yeah, so let me just break it down a little bit here. So this is what's been happening. In the last 3 months, we literally packed up our entire house, sold it, moved it into a house on 4 wheels, now 6 wheels, because you're probably wondering, where did their original RV go? And if you've been following on our socials, you maybe saw a little bit about that. Let me just tell you about RVs. So before 2020, they did not make them very high quality. I take that back. I just said that totally wrong. The other way around. After 2020, things were not made with very good quality materials. So our RV that we had originally purchased in the very beginning of this was a 2023 Sports Coachman, and it was a piece of junk. I could use other words, but I won't. It kept falling apart on us, everything. At one point, it got so bad that when we would flush the toilet, the front steps would do this like shaky thing and our air conditioners would turn off, which I feel like at that point, you know, yeah, that kind of starts to get a little frustrating, because we were in Arizona for quite a bit of time and it was like 90 to 100 degrees. So long story short, we called up our dealership and we told them what was going on, and they're like, hey, we get it, let's find you another RV. So we went to Colorado and we found this bad boy right here. Now let me just tell you, this is not any old RV. This is Johnny Depp's dad's RV. And yes, you heard me correct. I was like, say what on the phone when they were telling us about it? This is a one owner RV. It was in fact John Depp's RV. That's the name of his dad, John. So fitting. But anyways, it has 6 wheels versus the other one that had 4 wheels. This has one of the best Cummins engines that an RV can have. There's a million and one things, but this isn't an RV channel. But if you do have questions and you're like, hey, we want to know more about your RV, I would love to share, because once again, you know, these are all things that do affect our daily life. Living in an RV with 2 dogs, a 4-year-old, we had a squirrel for 1 week at one point. Don't ask on that one. But lots of adventures have been happening. And I'm even going to include a little clip here. We're in the Midwest as we speak, and the weather has just been nuts. If you know anything about the Midwest, you know that it can just spin on a dime. And we're currently in a section called the Corn Belt region. And corn sweat is a real thing, and it can fuel storms in the atmosphere. And we've had some serious, severe weather. I mean, we're talking like this campground we're at has gotten flooded multiple times. And so enjoy this clip coming up here of us trying to take our dogs out in the rain. Under a flash flood warning at our campground here. We've had probably almost 4 inches of rain, going on 5. We got to take the dogs out. It's been a crazy day full of Midwest weather, to say the least. So we are getting ready to head out here. So join us in the chaos. So literally everything, it's not cool. They already had things under construction, and I'm not even gonna try to step out there, but let's go see what's going on over here. Yeah, it's literally, I mean, even, yeah. We had a whole solar panel situation that's completely blown over. We had 70-mile-per-hour winds that came through too. Trying to find a spot for the dogs to go to the bathroom where they're not gonna get submerged. We are attempting to leave our campground here because we got to go run some errands in town. And wow, let me show you this. Even over here, wow, literally just a low-lying area. That is insane. But we always find the beauty though in those moments too, because there's so much adventure versus just living back at our house. We've learned so much. But let me just tell you here, I'm going to talk about dogs for a second, because that is truly what this channel comes back to. This whole mission, getting in the RV, going across the country, the courses, you name it. I want to share with you guys probably one of the most impactful things that this journey has taught me so far about dogs. And it's this: they feel everything, man. They feel everything. I want you to just picture, for example, that you're holding a cord, and the other end of that cord, your dog's holding the other end, and they can feel everything through that, just like a leash, basically. I know we take our dogs on walks, and we usually have them on a leash during a walk, but even outside of that time, I want you to pretend that that leash, that cord is still there. You know, when we're stressed, they get stressed. When we're happy, they get happy. And I know there's nuances, and we can dive into the science and the neurobiology behind that, but overall, I've seen that science come to life firsthand. Because let me tell you, there have been days, especially in the beginning when everything would break down, there were days where I was frustrated. I was like, man, why did our oven just explode? No, that real story. And you know, my dogs could pick up on that, and they knew that something wasn't right. They could feel the tension. They can pick up on those little micro shifts in our physiology, which is why I have such a passion for teaching people how to regulate. Because when we regulate on the other end of that line, that energy travels through to them. And so kind of the fascinating concept I want to share with you today and leave you with is this. So humans, we have around a 4 to 6 foot electromagnetic field that outputs from our bodies. And if you're wondering, okay, well, that sounds a little hokey, hang with me here. Our hearts have an electrical system. That is why EKGs, EEGs, you name it, they're picking up energy, electrical currents coming off of us. So we have an electromagnetic field that outputs around us. And why is that so important? How does that apply to dogs? Great question. Because if we are stressed, if we are anxious, or if we are happy, or if we're joyful, that energy goes into that electromagnetic field and it outputs around us. That's why when people come near you, they can tell if you're having a good day or a bad day. You know, we call it intuition, but it's because our nervous systems and our fascia is so intelligent that it can pick up on those things. And dogs pick up on it. That's why you can literally walk into the room and your dog, they know, oh my gosh, Rose is having a rough day. Like, they can tell. And so that's why, you know, as we dive into these different things, and as we come out with more courses this summer, we're going to dive into those little nuances and why that is so important, because how we walk into a room affects our dogs, whether or not we realize it. And I know a lot of the information that we put out can feel overwhelming sometimes, and it can be like, gosh, well, I'm not perfect. And I'm right there to say, same. Listen, I'm telling you, there have been some rough days in this camper. And I know my dogs have picked up on it, and it's not about perfection, but consistency, showing them that even after we have a stressful moment, that we can come back to a baseline state. That right there, that is what is so key. And so follow along, guys. We're going to be sharing a lot more about what's going on here, and I can't wait to take you guys with us and just honestly share some of the stories that we have experienced here along the road.